Hello, you beautiful people. This episode is brought to you by Deep Creek Glassworks. Since 2013, Deep Creek Glassworks has been handcrafting durable glass goods for everyone to enjoy. Looking for something awesome for yourself, or maybe for a loved one? Ornaments, jewelry, glassware, and much more, Deep Creek Glassworks has you covered. Feel free to contact them for something custom that you don't see on their website. Visit deepcreekglassworks.com, that's W-O-R-X, today to check out their selection. And just for our listeners, use the promo code SUPERFUN for 10% off your first order. All items are shipped in crust-resistant boxes and provide free shipping for orders over $50. Again, that's deepcreekglassworks.com, works spelled W-O-R-X. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Welcome to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go, a look at modern and retro games with a dark sense of humor. Introducing your hosts, Steve.
Well, I'm a wreck now.
Harry.
Put it in my mouth.
Clark.
That man had one testicle and hit home runs, goddammit.
And Joe.
This went off the rails very quickly.
Let's start the show.
Welcome to another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast. Go! To my bottom, hey, I got Clark Man.
Okay, but I can't be holding their hands the entire time. Get it? Because their hands are too big.
To my backside, Steve.
Right. Okay. I'll be back soon. Covered in Metal God Love. Which actually, that's pretty fitting with my intro to your outro. Get it?
Hey, to my further bottom, Harry.
We're on patrol.
And I'm your host for this evening, Joe. Decapitation!
Perfect.
That
Fucking
was
love
with
it.
A lot of enthusiasm. I appreciate that.
That
I
was
appreciate
with some
about
fucking
that.
gusto.
That was good. I'm sure Amanda's in the other room like, what the fuck is going on? Why is he screaming? Who's screaming?
Are you kidding? That's Joe's mating call. She knows it's go time. He just kicks the door in. Decapitation!
I didn't know Joe was a praying mantis.
I turned my head so I didn't yell right into the mic, and I realized my door was still open, so I'm going to close it real quick.
Oh, yeah, you fucked up, friend.
Neighbors and police are on the way.
It's like, I just feel concerned now.
Initial impressions. Mr. Bouse.
Yikes. Okay. I knew nothing about this game. I don't think I've ever even seen this game before. So little story when I was looking up game development. So looking at this game and then playing it, I was like, what an amazing mid-generation PS2 game. And then I looked at when it was made, and I was like, this isn't that old.
Yeah, you messed up there.
Yeah. So no, I'll have some things to say when we get to graphics later. But
that's a good start.
Other than that, it was interesting. I think Jack Black had a real lecture he was dishing out with this game.
He had nothing to do with that.
Really?
Development. Yeah.
But
well, they were like, I guess whoever conceived the idea of this game was like, I know who is very representation or who could really represent this game.
Right, the entire metal community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll cover that later.
Yeah.
Steve, initial impression.
Oh, it's me.
He forgot your name for a second.
He did. He was wondering about it, but that's okay. So, I actually bought this like when it first came out back in the grand old day of 360. Burp, burp, burp. So when this was brought up again, I was like, "Oh, I get to play it again." Again, we will get to my feelings when it comes to graphics, and I have a couple things to say about that. But overall, it was fun to go back to it. A little more campy than I remember, but that was a different Steve back then. But I was happy to play, mostly.
Alrighty then, Mr. Clark.
I remember seeing this game like start to get advertised and like seeing the previews for it, and I thought it was like an interesting concept. It was about what I expected. I think Jack Black was like kind of the saving grace of this, because I don't think anyone else could have done it with such like campy humor in the voice acting. And I don't know, I overall I didn't really have any sort of expectations going into it, and I had fun.
Okay. As far as my initial impressions, I knew a little about this game. Our mutual friend Kevin introduced it to me after it was released. He was a huge fan of it, played it a bunch, tried to get me into it when it first came out, and I just never really got around to it. It was always one of those ones that I wanted to play just because the general concept of it interested me, and from what I heard, the non-standard nature of the playstyle. So I was very interested to see how they pulled everything together to kind of make it a complete game here.
Very nice. But I think Kevin was pretty integral to the whole thing, because he first showed me the Pick of Destiny, and then I think that was 07, somewhere around there, soon after it came out, and then I was on a Tenacious D tangent, and then came Brutal Legend. I'm like, oh, Jack Black? Yeah, I'll give it a look.
Were you not at the cabin the year that I bought the Pick of Destiny? I know Kevin was up there.
I feel like if Kevin was up, I may have been. I think that's when I saw parts, because I only saw bits and pieces. But to be honest, I wasn't fully mentally there at the cabin that weekend.
None of us were.
Nobody was.
No, but it wasn't until I think he's the one where he brought something over at first. But it may have been you, actually, now that I think about it. And maybe I watched the entirety with him because I knew he was very much on the Tenacious D train.
Yeah, I bought it when we were up at the cabin, and I think we watched it 5 or 6 times throughout the weekend because we thought it was fucking hilarious.
That's probably why I only saw bits and pieces. So,
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, you know what? There you go. So, I take that back. Sorry, Kevin. Clark did it first.
So let's move into development.
Game development.
Double fine!
I fucking love that.
I know it. It's different every time, which makes it more fun. Double fine. Oh.
So the initial concept of this game actually was thought up by the original creator in around 1990. Out of something he just wanted something completely off the wall to do. But he didn't really actually get a chance to do it until around 2006. He could actually start working on it after they came out with the Psychonauts game. But as I was kind of alluding to when Harry was talking about his initial impressions, he pretty much had the game most of the way written and done, character models done and everything, before Jack Black even heard about it and wanted to be a part of it, which is really what happened. It was just that Jack Black heard about it and was like, yo, I want to be a part of this. So that's kind of how Jack Black got involved. And then once he got involved, they actually started getting a little bit more exposure from everybody else, and they could actually get, Ozzy a part of it. And they actually had Dio at one point, which they ended up not using. And
yeah, how stoked did he have to be with having this vision back in the early 90s, and then some 20 years later, no more than that, because that'd be almost 30 years later, to have the opportunity to work with Lemmy and Rob Halford, Lita Ford, Ozzy Osbourne. It's that's got to be a dream come true. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was nuts. And the crazy part to me is they actually still had a hard time pitching this game to publishers, even with all of that backing. They wanted them to change the whole game to keep the style, but change it to either a hip hop or country western game, which is fucking mind-blowing.
Terrible.
That would honestly probably make me double down on the fact that it's fuck everything that isn't heavy metal at that point.
Yeah.
I feel if they really tried to push him into a sort of genre, and it's no, I made this game about fucking metal, you assholes. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And they actually were getting rejected left and right from places. up until Guitar Hero came out and really kind of brought metal back a little bit to the gaming community, exposing it to new people that wouldn't typically listen to it. And then from there, they actually started getting a lot more traction.
So that's where the solos, like the power up solos, came from. It's like, oh well, just make them hit some buttons and feel like they're playing a guitar, and then they're good to go.
A little bit, yeah, probably.
Huh?
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely
Yeah.
see that. Guitar Hero was a thing for a while.
It was a thing for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing with headphones on in a barracks, and people were upset.
I remember Clark coming over all the time, and we would just hang out and chill, drink, and play Guitar Hero for like hours on end. And it got out of hand for a little bit.
Yeah,
I miss Guitar Hero.
I do
really
too.
do.
I still have mine.
You have Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
I have Guitar Hero World Tour.
Oh, I would totally do that. See, Morgan for Christmas one year was awesome and went out, got me like the entire Rock Band set. So it's like 2 guitars, drum set, and like the dongles and everything else. Like Facebook Marketplace, go get it.
Yeah,
But there's something about like the difference where even like the more plasticky guitar of Guitar Hero, it's like
I like
something
it
about
better.
it. Yeah, it's like I found it a little easier. Like Rock Band, that's a little past than my fat fingers can do. So give me Guitar Hero.
The whole Rock Band experience was kind of fun, though. I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I mean, I know you're saying the guitars are subpar to the Guitar Hero one, but just the whole doing the band thing felt kind of cool.
Hey, just saying, when quarantine's lifted, you can come over anytime. I got everything. You want the microphone too? I got it.
Yeah, I'll sing.
I got the.
I'm 100% down. Like,
Okay.
I will bring over like a fucking case of goddamn beer, and we're gonna play Rock Band all fucking day.
we
So
should
anyway.
get back to the episode.
Brutal Legend.
I mean, the reason we can kind of go on these tangents is because it's influenced from a lot of these other things that
Yeah,
we love, which
It
Exactly.
is.
which is one of those reasons, like, again, why I wanted to play it. I was like, it's got so much in it that like I love everywhere else. Like, just bring it all together into a video game. Let's see what we're at.
Exactly.
Um,
But the actual development.
yeah, I mean, as far as development, I don't have much more on that, unless you guys have other points that I may have missed or things to add in.
Nothing that isn't going to be covered in like other segments.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I did my spiel during Legend of Dragoon.
All right, so let's face melt our way into story.
Story.
So I have a little summary here.
go for it.
Hit us with that synopsis, bro.
Synopsis. Synopsis.
In the beginning of the game, you find the main character Eddie as a roadie for a band that claims to be heavy metal, but is more like My Chemical Romance. One of the band members begins to climb on a stage set, causing a portion of it to collapse. Eddie jumps out to save the band member. In doing so, sacrifices his life. A bit of blood flows into Eddie's belt buckle and causes Eddie to get teleported to the heavy metal world of the Temple of Ormagoden. Eddie wakes up and comes across Ophelia while fighting Doviculus' forces. Eddie assists Ophelia in fighting and comes to find out that he can read secret messages left in the world by ancient titans. Ophelia introduces Eddie to Lars and Lita. Lars explains that the world is being taken over by General Lionwhite. You agree to help them with starting recruiting from around the land, starting with headbangers, which are basically slaves labor by Lionwhite. You then continue on your journey, known as the Tour of Destruction, recruiting bases to heal your army and Razor Girls for range attacks and various other friends. You end up fighting and defeating Lionwhite and his hair metal militia, only to realize he was a pawn of Emperor Doviculus. Doviculus kills Lars in retaliation. You end up fleeing from Doviculus in your hot rod aptly named the Deuce. After getting a safe distance away, you find out that Ophelia is a demon that was sent to spy on the humans. Eddie decides to leave her behind when the tour continues, trying to figure out how to defeat Diviculus. Ophelia gives herself up, throwing herself into the sea of black tears. Soon after, Ophelia emerges and has an army of her own. She battles you several times on your way to Diviculus, only to run away every time. Only after finally defeating Diviculus at the Black Sea does Eddie find out that Ophelia has been a doppelganger the whole time, and then he jumps into the Sea of Tears to save her.
I think that is the most detailed but on point synopsis we've had so far. Congratulations. You know what, Joe?
Good job. It's like you prepared it or something.
Give it up for Joe. And I'm not being sarcastic. That was
No.
good. Yeah, like it actually, because I feel like we leave out so much when it comes to the story. It's like, just give it like the minute and a half. Here's the whole story. Talk on it. I like it. But who would have known that the love interest was somehow double-crossing you? Ooh.
Yeah, right? Didn't see that coming.
But I mean, for story, it's like, it's so far out there. Like it feels like the developer grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons and really loved metal. So he combined the two, and here you go. And if that's what he's going for, hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and it's like classic metal. It's not like some of the new like shit that's out there. Like it is some old school, like, you know, Devo, Ozzy, Iron Maiden, stuff like that. Like you can see those.
It's like a metal song. Hey, I'm a badass. I go through some weird shit. Oh my god, I died. I came resurrected. I drove an awesome car, and then I saved the day. There you go. It's like a 3.5 metal song, or like heavy metal, whichever brand. It's like so many labels. I don't give a shit. All into like a 6 to 20 hour game if you do side missions.
Yeah.
It's there doesn't need to be much substance to it. It's just everything else should make up for it.
Yeah.
Here's our story. Here's our metal. You want to fight about it? Like,
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know this game was Irish. Want to fight about it?
You want to fight about it?
Just my quick thoughts on story in general, and then we could dissect some story beats. I look at, like, when I come to grading, and no spoilers on this, but I look at like the story itself, and then I look at the dialogue. Now, I think the dialogue in the story is really funny. I think it was well crafted, and it like really progresses the story. The story alone, I think, was kind of weak, in my opinion. But that's how I'm looking at, like, as far as the story segment goes. There's some things we could dissect, but I think one half was like really strong, the other half was really weak.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way you look at it. It's like when I look at this game and like the story, if I'm to compare it to like a movie, it's a comedy for the most part. There's like a little bit of a love interest, but it's mostly just it's for fun. And
yeah,
I'm not upset at it, but that's, I don't know, the way I looked at it.
Yeah, this game does not take itself seriously, that you would be like emotionally invested in any of the characters, that you would think it's like, oh, the greatest love story ever told or anything like that. It doesn't take it's very non-serious. Like it's not out there really to tell the story, I feel like. I mean, it's a digestible game at 6 hours. You know what I mean? So like they don't really they didn't pour all the time and effort into the story. But like the dialogue, like you were saying, Harry, and like the characters and stuff like that, and just nailing the likenesses and the metaphors and they
got all of the tropes of like
the tropes.
That's comedy with
for.
it. Yeah. It's like that seemed to be like the direction that this was made for, and I think it hit it. It's like, oh, here's your protagonist and the backup who's actually the real protagonist, and we followed the story along for so long. Oh, the main protagonist dies, and then
here's the new one, and he still has his love interest and the one who's kind of interested in him, like Lita was, because she's just looking at him. It's like, oh, Eddie, you're the one we need, and she's kind of fawning a little bit, but it's Eddie's main interest was Ophelia, and there was no deterring that.
Yeah, like you said, I think they went into this knowing to not be serious. They were like, look, these are the things we're going to do, but we're not going to take ourselves seriously because that's when you ruin it.
Exactly.
So I think, like you said, that really helped them out. And just kind of knowing what you are going into it from the beginning.
To speak on like one story beat I had a real issue with, that turning point when the group basically threw Ophelia to the wolves in a way, where they just kind of like cast her out and like betrayed her. I didn't think there was like a strong lead up to support that, in my opinion. I just thought they just like threw her out of the car at one point. It was like, I don't know. It just seemed out of left field.
That's kind of what it that's what it looked like. But real quick, Harry, your peas are popping.
Fuck. Hold on. Let me turn the thing.
Chewing one side of your fucking...
Yeah, it's all chewed now. He's been picking at it.
Why don't you put it away?
It takes work.
That's
just the sock part, not the whole mic.
Joe, that's forward thinking. Just stop. I mean, it's
do that.
enough to remember left shoe, right shoe.
Kidding, if he thought about hard enough to put that shit away, he would stop breathing. Do you want him to die, Joe?
No. If he thought hard enough, he wouldn't have enough blood flow to stand. So come on.
His legs would collapse. He would stop breathing because he would panic.
Oh my God, over dear.
Oh my God, Leanne, help! Help!
What happened? I got the wobbly knees.
The fucking wobbly knees came back.
Well, I stood up too fast. Whoop, 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 whoop.
How did we? What? How did we get the three stooges?
I'm sorry. I love you, Harry.
He's just laying there on the ground and was like, I thought about putting away the microphone sock, and then I saw Toby, and I was like, I'd like to pet the cat, and he just passes out.
What happened? I leaned over, and then I fell down. I got sleepy. It's nice to see you again, Luann. Right? Is that it?
Oh, you nailed it.
So anyway, story.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Harry, so when Diviculus kills Large, he mentions...
Large?
Yeah,
like
large.
He's not
large.
small, he's large.
Small. Medium.
Yeah.
He's not massive, he's large.
He kills Schmedium.
Schmeen.
And he refers to Sicuria, which is the Ophelia's demon name, essentially.
Yeah.
Before he was sent to them, and Lita knew of her being from there, and then kind of put it together, and that's why they kicked her out at that point.
Yeah, but there was that whole scene with like the trust exchange where he handed over his necklace and like no matter what, I'm not going to betray you, kind of thing. And
then she threw it on the ground, and then it just ended up on her again. Like it's
she
there.
Picked it up, I guess, when she left.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that happened.
I don't know. I didn't buy it.
It is kind of loose there.
Yeah.
Like just suspension of belief. It's like, oh, okay, it's just kind of going. I mean, they are living in a world that was created by a fallen metal god, the literal metal god whose body parts were scattered all across the land, but enough to make a hot rod. I mean, again, I'm not mad at it, but that they really dug deep on that one. And the metal god, Armageddon, and his ribs and bodies would spraying across the land. Until one day, one man came and just so happened to put this shit together. All of a sudden, the deuce.
Is that really any different than like razorback boars being skinned and turned into rifles.
No, but at the same time, I don't know if there was a mode for it where you can actually like ride them. Like I feel like there was something in there that might fall into gameplay, but still, I feel like you could actually use them as like a mount. Because I would, instead of like the deuce, I'm not gonna lie, if I can take a metal boar into battle, that sounds a lot more fun.
I know you can put the chicks that hold them on your shoulders and like fire with them. That's
Well,
more
yeah.
that's more into the gameplay though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
getting ahead of ourselves there.
Do we have more story stuff to go over?
There's only one thing that I want to just make a like a hard comparison to. Have any of you guys seen the Heavy Metal cartoons from back in the day?
No.
Oh yeah.
This is the video game version of that. In
You
my
know what?
opinion, it's a light story in a fucking heavy metal fucking crazy ass universe where nothing makes fucking sense.
Toned down a little bit from heavy metal.
Sure. There's less tits in this, but like
A lot. Well, yeah.
it's a heavy metal cartoon video game. In like is how I viewed it. And when I stopped trying to take it seriously, like for the first hour, I was like on board. I was like, okay, this is kind of like flimsy here and flimsy there. Like once I just stopped taking it seriously, I had a lot of fun.
I did have one point. This had actually just occurred to me when we were talking about like a lot of these missions are learn this character type kind of thing.
Okay.
Doesn't it feel like most of this game is one big tutorial in a way?
You know,
I'm just putting it out there.
That's more towards gameplay than story, though.
You know, but I mean, a lot of these missions are the story. You know what I mean?
but
It's
yeah, we're
discovering these new characters.
we're
This is what
talking
they
about
do.
it now. And then here's another new feature. Oh, hey, here's another new feature. So yeah, no, you're
That's most
you're
of
really
what,
not wrong.
Yeah, just an observation.
I'm gonna go ahead and click, put that in my notes. All game tutorial
Why are you putting it in your notes?
space Harry, because we're just gonna do it again in gameplay, but we have it now, so double down.
Okay.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Okay.
No, shh, 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 shh. It's okay. It's okay.
All right. So let's hop on the tour bus and make our way to our next gig, gameplay.
Gameplay.
I like that segue.
You're welcome.
So like I said in my initial impressions, this game had so many different things going for it. Like I had a night. I remembered like in the back of my head that somebody mentioned that it would be like an RTS game, and then like you start the game and like you do like the first couple of missions or whatever, and I'm just like, this feels way more God of War than RTS.
Well, also there was a big point that was brought up in earlier segment where the whole game felt like a tutorial. And
Get the fuck out of here. Somebody mute this motherfucker.
but again, I don't think you're wrong, because especially going through the story mode, it's like
Whoa.
This-
Story was last segment, bro.
whoa.
Wait, hold on. I gotta write this down in my notes.
Go ahead, because
Told
I said
Steven
story
graphics that he's in
mode.
the wrong segment.
Just say mode, story mode. Okay, if you're
Hey
staying
Harry,
on
we're
the
not
story,
in graphics, we're in gameplay.
I know.
So
that was
correct
for
your notes.
later.
No, I just want you to correct your notes.
yeah. Don't get it twisted, Harry. Come on, little bitch. But Harry was not wrong, where if you follow just the story missions, it is just one giant tutorial. And the side missions is like as far as you can get, where, oh, I just learned that I can put the deuce up on a pedestal and shoot things as a side mission. There was like 3 more of them before you got to the next one. And then there's another one where you just have to get out and battle them by hand. It's pretty much repeat process all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the missions were like hard or anything like that. Like I think I got a brutal defeat like maybe 3 times in the game.
Good for you. You're bragging.
It wasn't difficult.
No.
Like
I died
I
once.
died quite a bit.
Really?
Yes.
I died a couple accidental ways, like just driving off a cliff and shit like that.
yeah, I'm not counting that.
The one that really fucked me up was the second to last mission. You know that tree that comes out?
Oh yeah.
That tree fucked me. That tree fucked me so hard. It was like the Evil Dead 2.
Did you know you could get on the stage and control the stage lights and stuff?
Yeah, not until like they were at my stage and I hopped up. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I did the same thing and I did it on accident.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what the fuck?
This is a thing.
Yeah. Because I don't remember that in the tutorial.
Though I will say,
yeah, once
from
somebody
initial-
told me, Steve, the tutorial, it's like every mission is like part of the tutorial, part of the story.
is it? Because we already talked about that, Harry.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Let me write it
Yeah.
in my notes.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Write that down. I'm typing it out. You old bastard. You're a dirty old bastard.
So
but not as good.
specifically, like you're talking about the tree on like the long bridge.
Yeah.
So I figured something out. So if you hold off on actually entering the bridge, you can sit there and just collect fans, and you can amass your army. I did that for the last 2 RTS battles, and I was just going in with like the bone crusher. I guess it's the bone crusher. It's the thing that like shoots the fucking sword from the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, oh man, that was fucking cool. Like I actually like really I thought some of the RTS stuff was actually like really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like the combo move of each type of enemy. Like even the headbangers like early on, like I thought that was kind of neat to just like start a mosh pit basically.
Yeah.
As like a form of defense.
And as long as you have enough of an army, the way that they're positioned on the battlefield, it's like the headbangers are up front, so they're there for like when a horde first comes in, and you can, go in like full steam, and then you can drop back and pick up the I forget what they're called, but basically the Rocketeers, like from the back and like long
The
range.
Razor Girls.
Yes, and then it's even with the characters themselves, like some of the main characters, the combos that they had, like with Lita, she would like have like an extended like poleaxe, basically. I mean, it's if you can start to find the strengths with everybody, then the stage battles became easy. Otherwise, like in the very beginning, it's like that's a bit of a learning curve.
I really enjoyed like all the different unit types. They all had like their own place. The only one that I didn't really figure out like where it actually like benefited was like the fire breathing cat thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were they were like a DPS, like a constant stream of fire.
Yeah.
I let them kind of do their own thing though. I didn't like I kind of hated that mission where you're riding that thing. It was just really boring. Run up to these enemies, stop, flame them to death. Run up to these enemies, stop, flame them to death. That was a little redundant.
I found any characters with knockback were a lot more useful. So like the roadies, where they had the giant speakers on the back, and you can ride on top and just sound out a blast of stereo waves. They were pretty crucial in some of those battles.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty cool. I mean, the Lemmy Killmeister was fucking awesome. I feel like I just like kept 2 of those guys and they just like healed fucking out their ass.
Oh yeah, that's all you needed. Just as long as you had some of those, then you were good to go.
Yeah.
Though I will say the port from 360 to PC, at least my experience, not good. That was a little rough at some points.
I think it was PC related. The only issue I had was the steering of the Deuce was terrible.
Okay, so we had pretty much the same experience. that was like the worst one. God forbid if you wanted to throw on the nitrous.
Oh yeah. Only
It
goes
was like
straight.
instant death.
Turning was
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna hit something and die. Let's go.
Now, did we all play PC, or did either Joe or Clark still have the 360 version?
No, I played on PC.
Okay,
Yeah, I played on PC.
Clark.
It's too cheap not to.
Yep. Yeah, I played on PC.
Did you guys upgrade your Deuce at all?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I did the fire out the side. I stuck with the machine gun.
Okay, yeah, I used the machine gun and the blood out the side.
Same. Exact same.
Yeah. Well, I did the blood out the side, but rockets for the primary
I
instead
think
of the machine
the
guns.
blood had a longer range than the fire, but the fire killed him quicker. Actually, I some of those missions like where you have to like follow your tour bus and kind of protect it from the enemies. As long as I stopped, especially in the one with the horse riders, if I stopped in the road and turned on the fire, they would all come up to my vehicle and then just die. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
Well,
easy.
That's some good planning.
Yeah, and if they didn't die, they at least got in front of you to shoot them.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could have had both at the same time. Just kept on the
Yeah.
fire and shot the machine gun. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was kind of perturbed by that.
They call that double time. When you guys were in battle, did you do more of like guitar riffs? Because I know you could like upgrade that a little bit so there'd be less cooldown time in between, or just like melee.
I did the less cooldown time between like the X button shock attack. So or not cooldown time, but it didn't heat up as fast.
Right.
That's the one I used.
I may have eventually gone to that. I forget. I swapped between it, the upgrades quite a bit.
Okay.
Most of the time I was using, like, specifically in the RTS, I was only ever really just like dropping in, doing guitar riffs, and then I would use the X button to like do the ranged attacks, and then as soon as that was hot, I would just pick up and fly off and go assist somewhere else.
I mean, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But when you weren't in like the stage battles, were you more like melee or riffing it? Wow.
Melee.
Melee, yeah.
I think I did a balance between the two, to be honest.
Well, that's good. And then you can get the upgrades for like the combos. So it's like XX, YX, or whatever the hell it popped up as.
I really struggled with those, with the combos.
Yeah.
I never upgraded any of those because I know myself and I'm a button masher. So I was like, yeah, that's not happening.
It doesn't happen anyway because it still has the Xbox presets, and I'm using a PS4 controller. So
Oh,
well, when it started, everything was messed up because it didn't actually pair my controller to Steam. But afterwards, I don't know if it's just like old memory. Like it feels more like A is X and Y is square, or I think that might be the correlation, but it just something synced up and it worked. But I think I want to get an Xbox controller because they're, I don't know, nicer for the hands, a little more ergonomic.
I use an Xbox controller as well for my PC. It's really nice. Like, it sucks that you kind of, unless you buy like the dongle or whatever, you have to keep it plugged in, but it's nice.
What's the dongle? What is that?
just so you could do wireless for Xbox.
Yeah, I gotta get that because
It's not cheap.
Oh, it's
Oh.
No, it's not. It's
It's like-
stupid.
It's like $60 or $70.
yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'll do
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
it's real dumb.
It's not worth it.
I'd keep it wired by that point, like
Yeah.
as long as it's just USB, which most controllers are if it's wired anyway. So you just pop that sumbitch in.
So my overall thoughts, I want to say, just kind of like I did in story, with the gameplay, like I really like the RTS elements and I really like the action adventure elements, but I think both of them could have been pushed further, and they both kind of suffered for not taking it to that next level, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think to your point about the tutorial is that like you didn't have enough like time post to like growth. to really like refine what you were doing. Like by the time like you
Right.
learned how to like upgrade your stage and like finally got some of the last two guys, it was like you only had like the one battle left.
Yeah.
And like if it would have been like maybe 2 or 3 more missions, I feel like I would have got a little bit more out of it and like
Mm-hmm.
maybe refined what I was doing. I would have enjoyed that a little bit more.
Well, it's not even that. I think what I'm saying with like my complaint on the RTS elements is I wish it was a little bit more complex, a little bit more strategy to it. A lot of it was just pumping out units, getting them to go over and do the thing for you, and just mashing a bunch of guys in the process.
Yeah. Did you guys end up actually like? Because there was one of the early things that it taught you how to do was like split up squads. Did you guys do that at all?
A little bit, but only as much as I could, because you have to be within like that certain distance to be able to command the squad.
Right.
And if you're just like way far out in a battlefield, which is like the second stage battle, you're not really having the opportunity to refine how to like go back. Okay, here's your one squad and pull them out instead of just being engaged in battle and trying to keep down whatever the big boss is for that fight, because they just seem to be like in your face. And then it was more, you'd have to like, I would pull everybody over to one spot with the one solo, like not the battle cry, but like the rally forces,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it's called. And then start bringing everybody to that one spot, make a unit, and then wait for that, and then fly all the way back just to guide them to where you want to go. I found that more annoying than anything else.
Did you plant a rally flag at all? Because
No.
basically you could put a flag anywhere on the battlefield and you can even move it, but any of the units that you build automatically run to that rally point as soon as they pump off of the stage.
That would have been a lot more helpful.
Yeah. It was.
It was super helpful. I
Yeah, you
use that
basically
shit all the
incrementally move
time.
it up the battlefield so that you're constantly replenishing your front line,
Oh,
essentially.
well, I fucked up.
Yeah, you played on hard mode, boss.
Apparently.
He's running back to the stage every 30 seconds.
Especially that bridge part where they just kept throwing enemies at you. I just kept
yeah.
moving my flag up a little bit at a time.
Yeah, and just ended up placing it at the end of the bridge. Like, yep, we're just going to spawn here so that they spawn at the end of the bridge. And
Yeah, and then they can't make it
Motherfucker.
past to knock down your towers or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because they need their
All right.
merch.
Yeah. Hey, we all need our merch.
Always,
you.
it's the most important part.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a merch shirt right now. Get out of here.
I'm actually wearing a metal band t-shirt right now. I felt like getting festive for the podcast.
I'm in Corn 2016.
I'm
how
in
about
Ice
you,
Nine
brah?
Kills 2020.
There we go. The rest of you, nothing?
I'm
No
wearing
spirit?
my They Live shirt that says watch TV.
Nice. That's metal.
Okay, Consumerism, so metal.
All right. Let's power slide our way into graphics.
Graphics.
So, everybody's favorite part of this game.
Yeah.
The graphics just look dated. There's nothing super special about them, and the very obvious cutaways to FMVs where like the graphics have like that weird grain over them and stuff. Like it's just now. I must say I don't know if that's a PC thing because the PCs can run these way higher than an Xbox 360 could. So I don't know if there's, like some weirdness to that because this was ported long after the game came out on 360, I believe.
It was locked at 60 frames.
Well, that I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the actual fidelity of the graphics though.
No.
No, I will say, because I encountered a lot of clipping while playing on the PC. Granted, I have an old ass computer right now, but when I was looking on forums, that was a common complaint.
Yep.
Was the graphics and everything else, which made me feel a little less bad. It's like, I know it's, not the strongest thing to run this game on, but I would feel like being from 2009, and in 2009, I was running games at a good clip, 11 years ago, whatever the fuck. That was not just me. So I'm going to have to give it a little bit of leeway for the platform that I was playing it on.
Yeah, the clipping was especially bad. Like when they would do the like videos trying when you like get out of your vehicle or stuff like that, like depending on what stuff you had
Right.
on it, it was fucking terrible.
Exactly.
I had an issue getting stuck in the environment. I had to reload the game like 3 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, especially remember when you're going through the Amazon-ish or I don't know, the spooky jungle,
The swampy area and
yeah,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
you're trying to clear the path for the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got stuck. I think 2 out of 3 times just on that mission alone.
Ugh.
And it was scared the shit out of me too, because the one time I reloaded the game, it was like you don't have a like I was clicking on continue, and it was like you need a save file. Use the game.
It's
I was like, uh-oh.
Wait, what?
Had a moment of panic there.
No bueno.
No. I mean, mine wasn't so much on what you're talking about, but like when I would transfer from going in the car to out of the car, he would like skip along jumping out or hitting the nitro. That is like, as soon as I hit it, it's just like you saw the car go off a little bit, the background environment just stayed there, and then it like came into frame. It's like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem.
Yeah, and speaking graphically too, and I know I mentioned this earlier in the show, but it really looked like a late, maybe even mid PS2 era graphically looking game. And that's what really surprised me when it said like PS3, Xbox 360 generation. I was like, there's no fucking way.
Well, it's very cartoony in the way that it's drawn.
Yeah, but
and
still, I just the level of detail in the environments, the character models, like it just everything associated with PS2. And I get like there's you can go for certain art styles, that's fine, but I think it can be done in such a way that it looks like a current gen. I don't know. It just I think they missed the exit when it came to graphics on this game.
no, I get that. I mean, they also did poke fun at it. It's like, look at my giant hands. It's like they're already realizing, all right, this is just out of control. What are you doing?
But yeah, no, that's art style though, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
I think like what I was talking about is like any type of water or like the environment. It's just like it was very smooth. Like terrain didn't really have any texture to it. Yeah, I mean I'll agree with you. It really looked like, in my opinion, like a later PlayStation 2 game. And the only reason that I would say that I couldn't run on that is just because of the number of enemies and the RTS moments. But as far as the graphics goes everywhere else, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking off the top of my head, I know a couple PS2 games that look better than this. Like Final Fantasy 12. I don't know if you ever played that. That was a late generation game, but that looked immensely better than this.
Though at least the art design, I don't know, they kind of fit some of the creepy stuff you were looking at, like the elongated limb creatures, like the ones that are walking on the bridge, or what is it? It's like the witches basically who are like in the cloaks, who are just like back and like 9 feet tall compared to your character. It's like I get that vibe.
I don't know. And for how big they made this world, because I know they had some bragging that they were doing on like, oh, we made this world that it's like really big. It was so simple of a world. It's like, why make it that big if you're going to make it so simple? It's just you're making it your situation even worse.
Kinda. It's like you can't really brag when like a year before you release the game, there's something like Fallout 3, where you want to talk about like a big world. There's a fucking world right there, and you're less than a year apart ish.
I don't know. That's my thoughts on graphics, though.
I liked some of the aesthetics that they were going for. Like you could tell in like the art design, at least, that I feel like they had the best intentions, I'll say. Maybe not the best execution, but the best intentions for what they were trying to go with for the art direction and things like that.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I should say, speaking on that, I like the design of the characters and like the enemies. I think that was a good look. I think it was a good look. Just the execution. You're right.
We could probably move on, I think.
All right. Let's set off some pyrotechnics and solo our way into music.
Audio.
Garbage soundtrack.
Fuck you.
Shut your mouth.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The soundtrack.
I was going to say that has to be like the most sarcasm you've ever thrown, period, on the history of this podcast. Like when it comes down to it, this is probably, especially I think where all of our music preferences lie, like the best soundtrack ever, period.
Yeah, like, and I didn't really bring it up in gameplay because I wanted to kind of bring it up here, but I thought it was kind of cool that they like made the soundtrack part of the mission. Like Run to the Hills was like one of like the chase sequences when you're driving the Deuce. Like they did a lot
Exactly,
with
yes.
the music in the game based off of the iconic songs of the era and from metal history. Like they really just like took a song and almost made it a music video that you played.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like Super Beast at the end when you're fighting a giant fucking creature.
Yeah.
Like that shit was fucking awesome. I was like, yes, this is perfect.
Oh,
Like, yes.
I cranked this fucking game when I was playing it.
Oh, several times.
I forgot how awesome this soundtrack was from playing the first time like 10 years ago until now. It's like going through, and then there's when you're driving through, I think it's like when Lion White's castle is crumbling and it's Dragon Force, like through the fire and flames.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
oh
Perfect.
shit, that's going.
Yeah.
And then like 3 or 4 missions later, it's Cradle of Filth. It's like, oh fuck, I forgot. This is awesome. It's like, and it comes like little by little. It's like you have between that and the one song that always seems to stick in my mind that I only first learned from this game was Angel Witch. I don't know why. It just sticks with me. You're an angel witch. It's like, what? Why is that?
That was like
around?
one of the things that I actually like intentionally got was the like the stereo upgrade for the Deuce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's between like that and there's like Children of Bodom, fucking Death Clock. It's like that Mermaider. It's like that. What that? Why is that in there? It's like, and then that's still taking because that was, I don't want to say newer, but more recent. Like given the years, it's oh god.
Yeah.
It's such a good soundtrack. I'm looking at like a list of stuff on here, and it's just like, all right, we have Tenacious D. Obviously, they were going to be in there, but like Testament, old Scorpion songs, fucking Rob Zombie, Riot, fucking Ozzy, Motorhead, Motley Crue, Ministry, Mastodon. Like, it's so good.
And then to come back to what we were talking about earlier, the voice acting. It's
Mhm.
that even in itself, where you have like Lemmy, Lita Ford, fucking Ozzy Osbourne as the metal, god of metal. Just
Fucking
like,
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, he was
Epic. It was so good. to
Was that
hear
Tim Curry?
as-
I was like searching. I couldn't find
Yeah,
like.
it was.
Yes, it's Tim Curry.
Okay, I thought so. I thought so. It sounded just like him, and I was like,
Yeah.
that was who was supposed to be Dio, but Dio passed. So Tim Curry, and
Perfect.
there you go.
well, Tim Curry's the man. So
Yeah,
He is
Tim,
the man.
Tim Curry is the man. But like, he's like the third or fourth voice actor that they show during the credit sequence. Is Tim Curry? I was like, no shit. I was like, I thought it was him, and then I was like, sometimes when they had like the distortion on his voice, I was like, okay, maybe it's someone trying to be Tim Curry. No, it was Tim Curry.
It's one of those voices where you hear it and you're like, I know that one, but it's just not there. But they put like the reverb and like the extra bass on it too. And then you see it and you're like, oh, motherfucker. Yep, there he is.
The other thing to kind of go along with the voice acting that's kind of hilarious, it kind of circle back on development, is like Ozzy and Jack Black, when they were doing their lines, they couldn't not curse. And like they re-recorded the lines so many times that they ended up just saying fuck it and left it in there. And that's why when you launch the game, it's like, do you want profanity?
Really?
Yes, because they just gave up on trying to edit them. They were like, you know what, fuck it, just go balls to the wall and we'll edit it. Like, if you
I
got-
appreciate that.
Or is it funnier to bleep it out because they couldn't even cut it apparently from like what
yeah.
what they
Yeah,
were
what,
saying.
what
Like,
Joe was just saying, yeah.
Yeah, and when they apparently, I mean, I didn't play it, but I looked it up. But apparently, if you play the edited version, they actually like cover the mouth with like the parental guidance rating off of an album, like that image.
I would have never seen that.
Yeah, they really took it like the sound in this game, and they really like I mean, they built the game based off of the sound alone. Like it's where they
Yeah.
started.
Well, I mean, you look at it, I think that pulling up the page here, a complete list of 107 songs. And you're just scrolling through it and it's gold. Like everything. Quiet Riot, Scorpions, Slayer, Static X, Testament. I mean, come on.
Yeah, even like the music generated just for the game is still really good. Like the instrumental tracks for this are still really awesome. Like,
Oh,
and you can
yeah.
find those on Spotify, like just with the actual like original
Oh,
soundtrack.
really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's like 40 minutes for the original soundtrack. That's just like the instrumentals from the game and stuff, and it's still really good.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, if you're going to go to like a studio artist and say, hey, by the way, here's what we're going to put in the game. You have to make something that fits the game. Good luck. Go ahead. And it's like, oh, the fuck do we do?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at how well I think that like Lemmy and Ozzy delivered their lines. Like, because sometimes when you get people like that to do stuff like this, they kind of half-ass it, and you can kind of tell that they're kind of phoning it in. But it sounded like they they were genuinely interested, and you could tell in the delivery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would imagine Ozzy would be more in than Lemmy by that point. Only because, like, you know, Ozzy did like the Osbournes, and he was still like putting out a record every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
So, Lemmy, not so much, but the fact that he did that was, you know, hands down. That's I'm gonna tip my cap to you, sir. It's not an easy task, especially because he passed away like only a couple years after that.
yeah, 2015.
So 6 years.
God, he was 70 when he died.
Jesus.
all right. Are we done fanboying over sound?
Yeah,
I guess so.
if I have to be.
All right. So that being said, let's walk off stage for a minute, only to come back out for final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I like it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
encore.
that really tickled your fancy there.
It did. Tickled me good.
Harry, final thoughts.
Woof.
Harry's a dog.
Yeah, woof.
Boof, 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 boof.
This is an interesting title. So the music is solid, yes. But I find it lacking in almost every other category. So it's one of those games you're going to remember for a very specific thing, but you're going to forget everything else. So like the story, very forgettable. I think the gameplay, a little lackluster. I think graphically, not even a blip on my radar. but the sound, I think the
Damn.
sound is where we could really talk about this game, and you'll see. It's going to be reflected heavily in my score because of that. I don't know what else to say on that. I think it's cool that it was a nice short game. I think if this game dragged on for like 20 hours, I'd be having a much worse conversation right now.
That's fair. That seems fair.
All right, Clark.
I think it's a fun game. Like, it's just not like, it's fun to sit down for a few hours and just like laugh at, you know, like it's not a game to be taken seriously. And I had fun. I really think the soundtrack sets it apart from pretty much any other game that I can think of that isn't a specifically music genred game, like Guitar Hero, things like that. Because I think those soundtracks hold up too, but that's the game. Yeah, I think it's a fun little game, and I enjoyed it.
Nice. Steve?
Going through this time, there was a little bit of nostalgia of like first playing it. I mean, but if we're gonna dissect it a little more, then it's not something that everyone can play or would enjoy playing, I guess is the way to put it. But for me, it was a fun second tour. This was like the first one was like US tour, this was world tour. But it got a little weird in the middle, and we just ended up breaking even.
All right. So for me, I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised in this game. I went in with pretty low expectations, though. Like, the music was like amazing. I mean, I think that can't be said enough. And having the cameos of everybody in it was awesome as well. As mentioned, though, the story is, I mean, there's a story there, but it's pretty loose. Yeah, and the graphics, I mean, though, you're rendering, but it's just enough to do the job, just like the story. But that being said, I mean, the gameplay I thought was actually kind of cool. I thought it was different than most other games that I've played. And I thought that the way they kind of encompass the way the story goes with the metal and all the different unit types, I thought that was kind of a neat way to bring everything together. I actually kind of enjoyed my little foray through Brutal Legend.
Very fair.
Agreed.
So that being said, let's pick the bras up off stage and wait for our scores.
Titties.
The score.
Clark, is what's my name in your phone? Is it still
Titties? It's
Okay.
still Titties.
Nice?
All right. Clark, score.
I think this is a rental. Just because it's you know, like we all said, it's not for everyone. I think it's a fun game. But I think it's content light. Just as a metalhead, though, it's fun. So rent.
All right, Steve.
Overall, I'm gonna give this a C minus, but with the cameos and the voiceovers, you know, Kyle Gass is there too. With audio involved, B minus.
All right, Harry.
I am going to give it a 4.0 out of 10, which is going to tie with Lollipop Chainsaw.
You've been rating a lot of games tied with Lollipop Chainsaw.
Have I? What
Yeah.
else did I give a 4?
Yeah.
Go through. Do you keep track of your scores?
I haven't
'Cause you
updated
got, like,
since the
10
middle
games.
of season 2.
Okay. It's
You need to go through because there's like 6 episodes where you're like, and tied with Lollipop Chainsaw.
Which it's to go to the descriptive part. Harry rates Lollipop Chainsaw as a game terribly, but very fun to play. So there's a
This one's weighted a little
differential.
differently, though. I'm not. It's okay. It's okay to play, but it excels in its music.
Well, you know what? Then you either did very well or you fucked up. Pick one.
No, it's weighted based on the categories. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, are they?
What?
I just want to make that observation for you, Harry.
A 4.0 is Harry's default. I didn't like the game score.
No.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It's like Lollipop Chainsaw, but I did have fun. I was like half-mast.
I've had some 1 through 3s.
Yeah, I think we. Nope. Not doing that.
So I am going to give this game a 62%. I really enjoyed the gameplay and the music. They really pulled this game out of the weeds for me.
Who threw
And,
it in the weeds?
The story and the graphics threw it in the weeds.
It's very
Yeah.
negligent.
It really was.
Should take care of your lawn a little bit more.
Get out there
Yeah.
and mow, you motherfucker.
Jesus. Got the crabgrass bullshit going on.
Coming from the guy who sits in his apartment and looks down, it's like, yeah, you missed a spot.
Yeah.
Sitting up in your high tower,
Absolutely.
Harry. Oh, HTH, High Tower Harry.
The shortest guy on the podcast.
As we made, will you be quiet, Jello Daddy Joe?
All right.
Bringing it back.
All right. So I think that pretty much wraps us up for today. We will see you in 2 weeks for another Mubbers.
Yes.
Stay safe, everybody.
Love you
Stay-
guys.
Stay
I love you
lovely.
guys.
Stay sexy.
Stay safe.
I love you.
Decapitation! Come on, Harry, get it.
Decapitation.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media and all streaming platforms at Superfun Podcast for more episodes. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend about us and consider becoming a Patreon member for more exclusive content.